gonna go vlog style for this one, and for those of you who don't know, I've been out on the island of Kauai for the past week helping out the Keala Foundation on a walk around the island. And so this walk was 70 miles long, approximately 70 miles, a couple detours here and there. It was basically to raise money for the Keala Foundation. If you don't know what that is, there's a link down in the bio, you can go check it out. Something I've been involved in with the Ultimate Hawaii Trail Run and Aaron Hoff and a handful of other people for quite a while now, something I'm pretty passionate about and enjoy doing. With the craziness in the world over the past year, the Ultimate Hawaii Trail Run wasn't able to happen. So in an effort to raise some more funds to continue the program, to give free physical fitness programs at CrossFit gyms for the youth, Aaron usually does something a little extreme fitness-wise every year. And so this year he came up with walking around the island. And when we first talked about it, I'm like, man, you know, I'd really love to come out and just do it with you, support you in any way that I can. Outside of supporting the foundation, just sounded like a really great challenge. Sounded like something that would be a lot of fun. And so as the date drew near, I was able to come out, and we had actually a great podcast with Chris Hinshaw about it, and talking about how unlikely it was that I might finish just because of my training background and that I don't train for these long distance events and things like that, and that I'm typically more of a sprinter guy. So that put a little fire in me to be able to try to finish the event, and we put a little money on it, so there was some extra motivation there. But came out and just to support the foundation, and that's kind of what this video is all about. 4 a.m. we're about to take off. How we feeling, Bickle?
4 a.m. we just getting started. I'm feeling good.
I haven't started at all. I'm feeling good too.
Ignorantly optimistic.
Yeah. So fired up, like right at the start.
Yeah.
No big deal.
1 mile in.
It's in the bag, yeah. It's done.
Oh, it's my second rounders right here.
Matching shoes.
Yeah, round two.
Are you wearing boxer briefs?
Yeah.
Round two of what?
Are you wearing
I got a big he gave me his used pair of boxer briefs.
Oh, perfect.
He's offered me a new pair, but I was like, no, I want them
I
broken
want
in.
them used.
I want them broken in because
So good.
Want them up ready. Like just backpack ready to go.
I'm carrying everything that I'm taking with me. I've decided that. We're gonna try.
I just need a gallon of water just because. Yo, we're just leaving Poipu right now. What's that? We're.
Here we go.
Yeah. Okay.
Following you, Javi.
Guess we walk on.
Yeah.
All right, let's go. Good start.
Who's starting?
You got this, Hoppy. Just start walking, Hoppy. Keep walking. Don't wait for nobody, bro. Don't wait for nobody, bro.
First legitimate stop is for donuts. So that's what we're gonna get right now.
Hey.
Donut time.
That's the best
That's the
thing.
one right there. And
That thing
Samada,
looks heavy.
and Samada, bro, it hits the lips and you just, all of a sudden, you're on your third one.
There's no way.
I just had
8 miles in, and we just crushed a whole bunch of donuts.
Feels good.
And then we're gonna keep going. Are we going to Poipu?
We haven't decided yet.
No?
That was a no. No, Sarah's trying to keep us on track. I think we should go.
I think we should probably go.
Hoppy's trying to shave
like we should
reps
go to
already.
Poipu.
We gotta go to Poipu, bro.
We're going. I don't know what you guys are. I just needed to put
Hoppy,
some. I just needed to put
Hoppy's
baby.
got his
go to
baby
Poipu.
powder.
I just
Dude.
needed to put baby powder.
Hey, someone take a
Why
picture of
started?
Hoppy. He's living his best life right now. He's got his baby
People,
powder.
there's kids waiting for him at Poipu.
Oh yeah, probably should go.
For the
For the
kids.
kids, guys.
For
the kids.
For the kids.
Meal number 2 is about to go down, and I'm not real proud of it. This is what my brother would call the scene of the crime. So a little bit of MacD's, some coffee, some water. Just kind of reload. We just passed 10 miles. So another 60 to go. Some of the sore spots are starting to show up a little bit. We're at 13.2 miles, so a little over half marathon in. Just, I know, when I saw you almost fall over with that cane, I'm like, who's the old guy up there? Quick little break for the feet.
Put him up there.
Walking and carrying 9,000 pounds of camera. Stud.
Seriously though.
We had somebody bring over an ice bucket. We all just kind of stopped and dropped our feet in for a minute. A little bit of food, a little bit of water. We're at mile almost 16 miles in. These beautiful, freaking gorgeous.
Where's Billy?
Peanut butter jelly.
About an hour break or so to get recharged at CrossFit Puipu over at the church. It's a little bit out of the way, so we're walking some extra miles, but that's no big deal. 22 miles in or so, about 33 more to go. And stripped down on the shoes, took care of the feet. Blisters everywhere, not everywhere, but slowly forming. Really no way to stop it. At this point, it's gonna happen. So you just gotta kind of deal with it the best that you can. But other than that, everybody's feeling pretty recharged, pretty ready to go. So we're probably gonna try to put down another 5 to 10 miles right now. We'll take a little break. Once we get to Lahui, we'll see if we're gonna keep going through the night and try to make this in one stretch, one push, no sleep. So we'll see. Probably can't see me at all because of this light. But we just passed marathon a little bit ago. First time I've ever gone a full marathon in a day. 26.2 miles. Nighttime now, on our way to Lahui. And we'll see what happens when we get there. Everybody keeps crossing the roads again. Day one, we woke up at about 4 a.m. and got all the stuff ready. My plan was to go self-supported, so I was gonna keep everything that I had to use, I was going to keep in my bag with me, which ended up being about a 20-pound pack when you added up water. And I didn't think this would be that big of a deal, but when you multiply that over about 80,000 to 85,000 steps in a day, it does wear on you. Starting on day one, we left from CrossFit KK at about 5:30 a.m. and just set out on a steady pace. And like along the way, obviously the first 5K, 10K, half marathon is not bad. Everybody's pretty chipper. Everybody's, doing their thing, and we're walking at a pretty good clip, probably between 3 and 3.5 miles an hour. And we've got all sorts of people, we're close to town, so everybody's out in their yards supporting us, handing out food, doing what they can. And even at one point, they had like a little ice bucket at around the half marathon to somewhere between there and 20-mile mark. While we were walking, we also had two awesome guys with us, two medics, who were able to take care of any bumps and bruises. Again, the people who kind of set out on this, the 7 that went the whole distance, don't train for anything like this. So this was a big event for them. I'm kind of used to doing the CrossFit Games. I'm used to understanding what some of those endurance events are like and understanding what it's like to push your body in a way that maybe you haven't experienced before or others haven't. It was awesome to start walking with those people and to see everybody who was willing to come charge and come help in for the cause. So right around mile 21 to 22 is where the wheels kind of started to come off. That's when we rolled into CrossFit Puipu to take a little break, get some food, rehydrate, and get some attention to the feet, legs, whatever was kind of hurting people. And nobody was really being very open with how bad they were hurting, which actually brought some people close to quitting because they thought they were the only ones who were hurting that bad. But then once we all got to kind of regroup there, because the pack separated a little bit, everybody was like, oh no, we're all experiencing the same thing. The feet are really starting to hurt, the blisters are starting to form, and this is going to be quite a bit harder than we thought. I think a part of the initial plan was to potentially go the whole way, go unbroken, go all night and not stop or not sleep essentially, and go the full 70 miles. And kind of at that 21 to 22 mile marker, especially when we got into like the upper 20s and into 30-mile mark, that became very apparent that it was going to be very unsafe to do that, and it wasn't going to happen for this trip. We kind of regrouped after that and then set back out, and everybody kind of knew exactly where they were at in terms of how big the task actually was going to be, right? So how difficult, how much longer this was actually going to take in terms of how long it took us to get from where we started to CrossFit Puipu. So everybody kind of kept marching along. The pace got a little bit slower. It definitely turned into a little bit more grind as kind of the sun went down and you started getting a little more tired. Of course, like before we could quite get to Lahui, which was going to be about the 33 or 34 mile marker, it just kind of broke down in rain, right? Just started downpouring. And as much as the legs started to hurt and the feet and the blisters and all those little things, honestly the most dangerous part of the whole thing was dealing with traffic. So walking on the side of the road and kind of avoiding cars and keeping your head on a swivel when it came to all that became kind of the most challenging thing, especially as nightfall rolled around. So you want to be responsible for the person in front of you, behind you. You want to make sure that everything was safe. And we actually had a great support crew bringing us out like little glow sticks and little lights to put on things and reflection suits and all those kind of things, or reflection vests to wear, hang on your bag or whatever it was to try to keep us safe during that. So towards the end of the 34 miles getting to CrossFit Kauai, I was definitely hurting. I get really quiet when things aren't going well for me. My stomach started to feel upset. I didn't feel good at all, like just in my head or my whole body. I don't know if I was a little bit dehydrated or didn't eat enough during the day, but kind of when we started to approach that 2 mile mark, I pretty much didn't talk to anybody anymore and just kind of stumbled into CrossFit Lahui. And I didn't take a whole lot of footage when I came in there. We got in right around 9:05 p.m. To end day one, and we had some food waiting for us, but I kind of just, wherever I laid down on the floor is kind of where I ended up staying. I took a bite of food and immediately thought I was going to puke. Immediately thought I was going to throw up. I have no idea why. So I kind of shuffled or stumbled over to the bathroom, which was taken at the time. So I'm thinking, okay, one of two things is going to happen here. Either this person's going to get out, or I'm going to throw up all over the floor for whatever reason. And as I'm standing at the wall, Jared, one of the medics, asked me a couple questions. I have no idea to this day what he asked me. I have no idea what we even exchanged about, because all I was thinking in my head was, don't pass out and don't throw up, whatever you do. Like, because the blood was draining from my face, I thought I was going to fall over on the floor. So kind of sat down and recouped a little bit, sat in the bathroom for a minute, trying to regain some sense of normalcy, and walked out again, didn't say a whole lot to anybody, unpacked my little packable cot, which I took with me, and laid down and immediately fell asleep. There was noise, lights on, everything, but I was just out like a light. And woke up probably around 3 a.m. and everything felt better. I felt way more normal just after that little bit of sleep. Some of the swelling in my feet subsided, and I actually rolled over and ate the burger and fries that were waiting for me for dinner that I didn't eat because I felt like I was going to puke earlier. So at about 3 a.m. I had my dinner. So that was pretty much the conclusion of day one. Big props to CrossFit Kauai for letting us crash there, for letting us bring food in, just set up on your floors. I didn't actually get to shake hands with you guys because I was feeling so sick, but you guys are what the CrossFit community is all about. That was awesome. That was really cool. We definitely needed it. Everybody was pretty much at a breaking point right there and definitely needed a rest, and getting a roof over our heads, some food in our bellies, definitely recharged us heading out for day two.
Okay, thank you.
Morning, day two. We slept at, what gym are we at?
Kauai CrossFit.
Kauai CrossFit. So we have about another 30 some miles today. I think we're just over halfway. You sing the Rocky soundtrack for us?
Alright, that's all I got.
That's what happens when you run out of battery power on anything. Tasia.
What's happening?
I said when you run out of battery power on the speaker. We have Tasia. How many miles so far today? 10-ish? 10-ish miles in on day two. We have like 3 or I don't know how many miles to go before we go to Bronson's place. Gonna take a stop there. And then go to Jamie's place, and then I think finish up tomorrow. So probably close to 22 or 23 miles today, I think is the plan. Which one? It's like 12. The long one? We've been walking up a hill since we left Bronson. So it's a 5-mile hill.
The one we nicknamed Mount MFer. I looked, I'm like, oh, that's the one you're talking about.
Yeah.
It just keeps going.
The big one where there's no shoulder either.
At one point, I thought it reached the heavens.
See that crunch on the side of the road? Did you walk past the crunches?
What's that?
I don't remember those.
Set of crutches?
That was so fucking scary.
Yeah.
I need a mirror in the next couple of minutes.
Bro, that was so fun.
Yeah, Ozzy.
Holy shit.
The man from the very back
Where's Jesse?
in the car.
Jesse's out, I think. So Aaron and his crew were in front and they just waited for us to jump up here. So we're all back together now. And we're gonna finish out the night together, I believe. A little bit of rain.
Do you want the slinker?
Everybody's tired, feet hurt, but it is what it is. Just cruising.
Here.
Heck yeah, Bickle.
Yeah, boy.
Yeah, buddy. Cruising.
79th wind.
79th wind.
If it goes off, you have to take the pencil and push it in, okay?
Okay.
Makes total sense.
Just hit it if you
Did they sell it with the pencil?
Yeah.
It
So what you gonna do
Do you understand?
when the light go out?
This little space up here.
Get you one of them little clicky pins. Yeah.
Right, where that hole is.
Yeah, that would make
Feel
sure
it?
to number 2.
Yeah. You need to use it. Yeah, because it might go out.
So I have a feeling that's coming back on me.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, most of this will never see the light of day. So. Day 2, the pace slowed considerably. We were probably going at a blistering pace of about 3 miles an hour for most of day 1. And then day 2 dropped down easily to a 2.5 or 2 mile an hour pace. Especially in the morning, it was very obvious how rugged each step was going to kind of be, and that you really had to focus on what's the purpose in every step that I have as I'm walking along, because focusing on that purpose rather than the pain is what keeps you moving, and accepting the fact that the pain is just there. It's just part of the experience. It's not going away. It's not going anywhere. This is what you signed up for. This is what you came here for. You came here to experience some pain with some other people and symbolically kind of push through some stuff, be there for Aaron, be there for these kids. The pace was definitely a little bit slower. We stopped for breakfast around 8 a.m. and our goal was to get to CrossFit Anahola and take a little break. That's where Bronson's place is at. He's got his little setup down there that he opens up to kids, which is just amazing. So the really cool thing about this is that we got to start at the CrossFit gym and then slowly kind of bounce to each place where the kids are taken care of, where the kids are taken to, and where they get their free fitness programs, their free food, and all that stuff. Those were all kind of off the beating path too. We had to add miles to the trip to do those things, right? And as frustrating as that was sometimes, adding some extra miles to the trip, it was necessary. Yeah, you have to go there, you have to shake hands, you have to give hugs to the people who are actually executing on a day-to-day basis. You know, what we were doing is cool and it raises awareness, but those are the people who are getting their hands dirty, right? Those are the people who are in the trenches, so to speak, every day, kind of getting the job done and putting the money to good use and making sure the kids have a safe place to be to do what they need to do. So visiting those places, letting those people take care of you when they can was huge. When we got there, everybody again hit the floor immediately. We were approaching kind of the I want to say 40-mile mark or so. Knew that we were going to need to give some attention to the feet, and knew that we were going to need to get only be able to go probably another 10 miles that day. So from CrossFit Anahola, we had about 18 more miles, and knew that we were probably going to have to break that up into 2 segments. And so we had another 10 miles to go, which when you think about in terms, it changes your perspective walking this far. 10 miles sounds like, okay, that's an easy car drive, that's an easy bike ride, that's an easy whatever. But then when you actually have to set out and walk it while you're carrying some gear and you've already walked, 40 some miles before that, it slowly sinks in that that's going to take you at least 5 hours. At one point during that 10 miles, the group got pretty separated, and so things got pretty quiet, and I would say morale and the motivation was a little bit low. But then as we kind of kept rolling along, there was a call made up front to stop and wait for everybody. So they had to wait about 30 minutes, especially since it got dark again. It was getting a little sketchy. So the last probably 5 miles on day 2 was probably the hardest 5 miles I've ever walked. I was getting really worried about my Achilles and my calves. Those things always light up on me. It's a weak point on my body. I always get strains down there ever since I was in high school. And so I could notice, especially my left Achilles felt kind of weird. It didn't feel right. Not painful, but definitely uncomfortable to the point of it had me a little bit concerned. So I had to alter my gait just a little bit to make sure that I wasn't rolling up on my toes too much and putting too much stress there. I definitely didn't want those things to happen. Definitely didn't want any injuries. So the name of the game then was pick a point that was probably 10 to 15 yards in front of you. You know, find those small goals that you can reach and that are within your sight that are still hard to hit. Every step towards those goals is gonna hurt and it's gonna be painful and it's gonna require some discipline, but make it to that next light post, make it to the next stop sign, make it to the next reflector on the road. And that's kind of what I focused on in those last 5 miles, among, you know, exchanging some words with some other people. Again, it got pretty quiet when the pain really set in and the grind really set in for those last 3 to 5 miles. But that was kind of my focus, and that really did help. Because every time I'd reach those points, I'd feel some little sense of accomplishment of like, okay, hey, you got that done, you got that far, I bet you can get to the next one. Doing that over the course of, you know, 2.5 hours to get those 5 miles in was kind of what saved me, what really pushed me through to the end, and is a great way to look at accomplishing any task, right? Accomplishing any big task that's in front of you that you know, man, I'm years out on being able to do this. Well, just take the first step. Just get to the first post. Just get to the first marker, whatever that is. Set those markers up along your roadmap for success, and it's gonna bring a much more joyful experience to a miserable endeavor that you might be trying to accomplish. And so we stayed together and got all the way to Jamie's place, which was just about 8 miles out from our finish line, and the same thing happened again. Like, everybody just kind of walked right in and dropped to the floor wherever they could find a spot. Kudos to Dennis and Jared again. Those guys were the biggest form of service on this trip, because as soon as they walked into a place where we were going to take a rest, they took care of other people before they took care of themselves. And they've been medics for a long time now. The servant spirit, the servant leadership that's in those guys was incredibly admirable. It wasn't sooner than 2 minutes that they would stumble in, and they're tired and they're hungry and they're thirsty and they want to sit down and all those things. But someone would ask them immediately, hey, can you check out my blisters? Can you check out this? What's wrong with this? And they would just roger up immediately. Pack would hit the ground and be like, okay, let's pull the shoes off. Let's get a look at them. So that was awesome to see. That was motivating to see for me specifically, and encouraged me to look for different ways that I could reach out to other people and give a little word of encouragement, or, you know, just chat with people a little bit and see how they're doing. Too much further to go to finish off on the final day. So we got a little more sleep and then woke up for day 3.
I was ready to like start running uphill. It's a good thing I didn't. I had the right jam going. I'm like, I think I need to run the rest of the way. And then as soon as I came over top and went downhill, I was like, oh, no. No.
Last day. Getting it done.
Waterfall.
We gotta do it. You can do it. Oh, I got it.
Oh, shit. Let's go! Nice job, guys. Good job, buddy. Thank you for having me out. Thank you guys for everything. Nice job, buddy. Way to finish strong.
Yeah, bye.
Day 3, about 8 miles to go. We stuck together as a whole team, together the whole way through. We definitely wouldn't have made it if it wasn't for Auntie Ronnie slowing down traffic on days 1, 2, and 3 on all the dangerous spots, really looking out for us. So blessings there, and thank you for all that. Really cool point, or the point was like, oh wow, you know, we're really about to do this as a group. There's a great lookout over Hanalei Bay, or Hanalei itself, around a corner that takes a steep downhill turn into Hanalei, that we stopped and kind of took a picture at, and you could see it now. You could see like the end goal is in sight. Like, there it is. This is what we've been working so hard for. That's where we need to go to. You can physically see it. Not just look at it on a map or know, I've got about 2.5, 3 miles to go tonight. Okay, well, now we have a clear vision for where we need to be. The downhill was terrible. Downhill was 1,000 times worse than any uphill. I would walk all 60 miles uphill again than go any downhill. From just the stress it puts on your knees, hips, feet, ankles, the blisters it creates because your feet are kind of sliding around in your shoes. For whatever reason, the uphill, the angle of your feet, the muscles you get to use changes, and it was just way better. It was really fitting that the last like couple miles was some seriously steep downhill, right? So things had to be taken pretty slow. It added a little bit more discomfort to an already uncomfortable situation, but that made it special, right? And then a really cool thing, Hoffy was kind of leading the pack at the end, and a really cool thing happened where he just kind of dropped both his sticks and started running. And you could tell that was pretty emotional for him. As emotional and as incredible as the experience was for me, just to get to help out my buddy and know that I was serving a great cause. I can't imagine what it was like for him. To see him take off and run towards the finish, probably the last half mile, was pretty epic. It gave an awesome adrenaline shot into the whole crew, and one person's like, should we run? And nobody even said anything. Everybody just started running behind him. Got to run with the pack in, run down the pier, and ended with obvious high fives, hugs, and all the congratulations. At home with the barn and all that different stuff. But this was a situation where it was time to not be selfish and help out a buddy who has been there for me, and help out some people that I've never even met before, right? So to the whole crew who did it, you guys are awesome. It was a blast to do it with you. You know, couldn't think of a better group to do it with. You know, for the people who have never done something like that and never pushed themselves physically like that. I hope you learned something, and I hope it was a great experience for you. I know it was for me, and I can't wait for the next thing that's going to come next year, whatever that is, and to continue to support the Keala Foundation and support the youth over here any way that I can. And Aaron, to support you, thank you for what you do. Sarah, Juan, and everybody else who's involved over at the church and everywhere else. Thank you guys for doing what you do and for doing the hard stuff. This walk was the easy part. The actual day-to-day work is the tough stuff, and that's what I'm thankful for, and that's what I'm looking to support you guys for in the future.